This is Circle of the Dark Mother, and I'm Mark. We're going to talk about Mesopotamian magic with Lilith. And I want to mention that there will be content in this video you may have seen before, but for context, it's really important it's all in one place so that it builds, and especially for someone who hasn't seen the previous videos. So Mesopotamia. Mesopotamia was located south of what is now Turkey and north of the Persian Gulf. Many cultures lived in the area from prehistory until the Persian invasion at around 500 BCE. The first written language known comes from the cuneiform of Sumer. The Sumerians moved into Mesopotamia around 4500 BCE, and the first cuneiform writing dates to about 3400 BCE. The Sumerian language is not related to any known language, past or present. Now, that doesn't mean there wasn't a past language that it's related to, but it was never written down, so we know nothing about it. In 2234 BCE, the Akkadians invaded, creating the land of Sumer and Akkad. Their language was Semitic, related to Hebrew and Arabic, but they continued to write in cuneiform. In 2025 BCE, the Assyrians expanded their territory from the north by taking over the Akkadian Empire and adding it to their territory. Assyrian is also a Semitic language that was much like Akkadian. They also continued to write using cuneiform. They invaded the land of Judah and captured the Jewish leaders, taking them to Babylon, which was their capital, where they stayed from 605 to 539 BCE. As stated above, around 500 BCE, Persia invaded, wiping out Mesopotamian culture. Lilith in Mesopotamia. Most people associate Lilith with Judaism, but she actually existed far before she was brought into their religion. There are several wind and desert spirits called Lilu and Lilin in Mesopotamia. These were seen as incubi and succubi. There were also the goddess Lilith, who was a goddess of night, storms, and passion. Many say she is not a goddess, but her name appears in the An Ta Naum and An Anu Sa'ameli, which is translated into English from cuneiform. This is the Sumerian to Assyrian god list put together in the Assyrian period to link Sumerian deities to their Assyrian names. The entry for Lilitu contains her Sumerian name, Dimi-G, which would be pronounced Kamaji. This means she of the night, and her Assyrian name, Lilitu, which means moonwind. Lilitu was both a goddess and a demon. Demons in Mesopotamia were not what we think of in Western civilization. They are not beings of evil, but gods, goddesses, and spirits that don't follow the rules of the cities or the other gods. There are many, and Lilitu is one of them. While the Jewish people were in Babylon, they brought Lilith back with them, combining her myth with other goddesses and demonizing her. Cult of the Shaddim. In Mesopotamia, Canaan, and other cultures of the area, Shaddim were winged protector entities. Interestingly, Shaddim in Judaism are a type of demon that are human souls who never received a body. The Shaddim in Mesopotamia were gods, goddesses, or spirits who were all winged, acted as protectors, and were considered demons because they didn't adhere to the contracts of the cities and their patron deities. The Lilin and Lilu, wind succubae and incubi, who were closely related to Lilitu, may have been considered Shaddim. Many Shaddim were worshipped in Mesopotamia as entities that could be called in ritual. They were probably part of the magic of what were called Kasaptu and Kasapu, which we'll talk about. Mesopotamian religion. Mesopotamian magic evolved over the several thousand years that we know of culture in the area, from the Sumerians through the Assyrians. And probably before that, we just don't have any writing to tell us. The original magic was probably much like pagan-based earth magic that we know of today from other parts of the world. As time went on and the city-states grew and gained more power, much of their religion became tied into their government. became highly ritualized and was dictated by a priest class called the Kalu, along with city-sponsored exorcists. The only exception were the priests and priestesses of Inanna, later called Ishtar, who were called the Galah. The Galah were said to be bisexual and gender fluid and were a very different class of priest from the Kalu. Common folk who performed magic were called the Kasaptu, women, and Kasapu, male or men. They were the witches of Mesopotamian society. As the cities gained more control, the Kasaptu and Kasapu were demonized and banned. But of course, they continued to practice as others did in almost every society. Each city had a patron deity who was officially worshipped, had temples dedicated to them, and were part of the government-sponsored religion. Many cities also venerated Inanna Ishtar as well. Other deities still existed, but were not part of civil ceremony. These other deities were primarily invoked by the common people. Mesopotamian magic. Much of the ceremonial magic of Mesopotamia involved hymns, exorcism, public parades with the idol of the city's deity, and work with oils. Many of the hymns and anointing examples in the Torah are actually taken from Mesopotamian religion and altered to fit Judaism. For instance, the Song of Solomon was originally a hymn to Ishtar. As mentioned before, early Mesopotamian magic and the work of the Kasaptu and Kasapu were probably much more like what we would call witchcraft, based in nature and what they had available. We don't know as much about these practices because it was the city-based religions that were well documented in cuneiform. The common people probably were illiterate, and so they didn't write down their practices. The primary deities were based on the 8 known planets: Earth, Moon, Sun, Mercury, Mars, Venus, Jupiter, Saturn. Other deities were more focused on nature and the afterlife. Lilith, being a goddess demon and the embodiment of night, was feared by some and held in great reverence by others. Night was the time of predators, the unseen, passion, storms, and many other unknowns. There are references to Lilith that link her to Inanna Ishtar. Scholars have shown her as a handmaiden or possibly the dark side of the goddess. We may never know exactly how the Mesopotamians saw her unless we find new cuneiform tablets on the subject. Reconstruction of Lilith magic. As said, we can't be sure exactly how the Kasaptu and Kasapu perform magic. However, we can make some guesses based on archaeological evidence, the Mesopotamian ladder of lights, later picked up by Judaism in evolving into Kabbalah, and how most known pagan traditions approach their magic. As has been the case with many European pagan traditions, we end up taking what we know and combine it with the best guesses to come up with a framework that is accessible and meaningful for today. The following ritual will be an English-based ritual with Lilith that combines what is known with early Kabbalistic elements that would be compatible with the Ladder of Lights. I will provide a framework, and then you can put whatever magic you desire into the middle of the ritual. You will need an altar with a candle, anathema, and a statue or picture of Lilith. If possible, have the statue or picture elevated from the rest of the altar. This is because in Mesopotamia, they created ziggurats as their temples, which were basically step pyramids with a flat top. The Holy of Holies would be the uppermost chamber, and this was to put the deity high on a mountain. In addition, have a small bowl, a candle that is a couple inches tall, like a votive, incense, water, and soil or sand available, so they can be used at the appropriate time. Also have some anointing oil available. The best time to perform this is at night, outside of if possible, but not necessary. Prior to ritual, in most cases, the practitioner would ritually wash and dry their hands. Each of the directional invocations should be done with arms out, biceps parallel to the floor, forearms pointing up, and palms facing out. Light the candle on the altar. Have incense burning on the altar as well, and place the ritual bowl on the center of the altar. Facing the altar, pick up the athame or knife and make a slashing motion in the air. Say, the Shadim of Lilith, wing protectors, We ask you to banish anything that is against our purpose, anything that is not here for our good and approved by your mistress. Put the athame on the altar. Continue to face the altar and look up. Say, Lilitu, she of the night, we call you. Face the east, putting your arms out in the fashion described, and say, Lilitu, she of the wind, we call you. Face the south and say, Lilitu, she of the flame, we call you. Face the west and say, Lilitu, she of the sea, we call you. Face the north and say, Lilitu, she of the desert, we call you. Place the dirt or sand in the center of the bowl. Say, I offer you earth. Pour water gently into the bowl so not to disturb the dirt or sand too much. Say, I offer you water. Place the small candle in the center of the bowl on the dirt or sand and light it. Say, I offer you fire. Wave the incense over the bowl. Say, I offer you fire. Pour a small amount of oil into the bowl away from the candle. Then take a drop of oil on your finger, look up and say, I offer you myself. Place the drop of oil on your forehead. Invoke by saying, She of night, moon wind, mother of darkness, I come to you to seek your presence and power. At this point, you can do any magic working you wish. Examples are candle magic, divination, create a spell jar, meditation, or anything else that you might do to get whatever you're trying to do with your magic. When the magic is complete, say, as it is spoken, so it is done. Say, thank you, Mother of the Night, for hearing my plea. I am your eyes, your ears, your hands, and your feet in the world. Give me your strength and reveal to me your mysteries. Say, Shadim, guardians, we release you and thank you for your service. Face the north and put your arms in the position described and say, She of the desert, thank you. Face the west and say, She of the sea, thank you. Face the south and say, She of the flame, thank you. Face the east and say, She of the wind, thank you. Look up and say, She of the night, dark wisdom, I thank you and promise to remember you in all I do. Leave the bowl of earth, water, fire, and air on your altar. Once the candle burns down, you can use the bowl for scrying based on the configuration of the elements inside. And you can do this as a response to your ritual to see what the outcome may be. Thank you. Hopefully that was helpful, give you some idea of Mesopotamian witchcraft. I will do more of this. So if you find it helpful, leave comments. Or if there's anything else you want to see, please put that in the comments as well. Take care.